Arrow Video brings to Blu-ray a lesser-known film from the filmography of classic, iconic director Howard Hawks. This is Red Line 7000 from 1965, as I said, or may not have said, on Blu-ray. So this is a film I'd never heard of. And it's similar, falls into a similar bag as some other car racing films of the time, like Le Mans and Grand Prix and Fireball 500 and all that. And stars James Caan, stars a young pre-Godfather James Caan. Laura Devon, Norman Alden, who's a name you probably don't know, but a face and a voice you probably do if you watched a lot of 60s to 80s TV. I always thought of him as Frank from Electro Woman and Dinah Girl, and he did a lot of Hanna-Barbera voices. George Takei, pre-Star Trek, just pre-Star Trek George Takei, as part of the Caan pit crew. You get to see him dancing in a nightclub and doing automotive stuff. And Marianna Hill, who I knew best as one of the stars of Messiah of Evil. Also available on Blu-ray from another company, as they used to say in The Tonight Show in the old days. She stars on a show that appears on another network. So this film is basically it's about Indy 500 auto racers and the women who love them. It's about as much time, if not more, is spent off the track than on. And it's a melodrama for the most part. It looks fabulous. This was a Paramount release originally, so it's got that studio sheen to it. A lot of it was shot on actual racetracks, and there is some spectacular footage of car crashes, some of which were staged by, and there's an amazing story related to one specific car crash where a car basically flies up in the air and over the wall to the track. Some of it was created by the stunt team and the effects team on the film, and some of it was just footage of actual car wrecks. And it's interesting because it's Indy 500, but it's not like the Formula One Indy 500 we think of now. It's older style cars, the kind of cars that you would think would be in a demolition derby rather than Indy 500. I'm not a car racing guy. I'm a guy who loves car movies. Don't really know a lot about cars. Don't really care about automotive stuff. I can appreciate a cool car. I just like car movies that are about cool cars and fast cars and wrecks and stuff like that. And this movie has that. Although it does have much, much more about romance and striving to be number one and relationships. So probably why this movie didn't do great in its day was all the car people were like, oh, cool, it's going to be a movie about 8,500 cars. And what they got was a film about feelings. But it's a good film. Performances are good. It's got that really nice, crisp, early 60s look to everything, be it the clothes, the cars, the hairstyles, the interiors, the exteriors. A lot of product placement in this film. Promotional consideration paid by Pepsi, among other things. A lot of it takes place in this really huge, cool nightclub where all the racers and their ladies hang out before, when they're not on the track, let's say, or in hotel rooms. And it features this giant Revell slot car track. The racers are having fun, playing with little slot cars instead of the big slot cars, which could kill them. I guess the little ones could kill them too if they were thrown very, very hard at them or if they had attempted to eat one. So there's a couple of semi-awkward songs in the film that are interesting and kind of cute. The film at times feels like a more mature beach party movie in how it's the whole gang at the hangout and there's a few kooky characters and there's singing and swinging and romance and all that kind of stuff. Much like Fireball 500 or what was it? Bikini Beach was the beach party movie where Frankie was a dragster racer, I think, in that one. It's an interesting film. It's not great. Apparently it was not a success in its day and it was mostly forgotten. It's a very interesting curio. It's the kind of thing that I can see Paramount, not however much any studio releases repertory titles at this point that aren't the uber classics. I could see this one not being one that Paramount would release on their own because it's really not very well known. And there's no stars that would make it be like a instant grab, like a Boris Karloff per se. But I'm glad that Arrow is a company that is picking up the slack and putting out these studio pictures that are very interesting footnotes in somebody's career, but might not be very well known even to serious film fans. Special features on this disc include an archive audio commentary, which surprised me. I was like, this movie got a disc release before this? Archive audio commentary by Nick Redman and Julie Kurgo, daughter of Redline screenwriter George Kurgo, and she's really good. She does most of the talking in this, and she really knows her stuff about the production of the film and analysis of the film, and it's a very interesting listen that fills in the gaps of what is this movie and where did it come from? Bruce Kessler, Man in Motion, is an interview with the racer director of film and TV and second unit director of Redline 7000 about working with Howard Hawks. That's very interesting. It's 45 minutes long. A Modern Type of Woman, visual essay by Kat Ellinger on the Hawksian woman in Redline, and that's 20 minutes. Very good. Anything Kat Ellinger has to say is always worth listening to. Gas, Gears, Girls, Guys, and Death. Say that 3 times fast. A visual essay by Howard S. Berger and Angela McEntee. That's 36 minutes long, and then a 36 image gallery. So fairly inconsequential film in the scheme of things, but interesting if you're into auto racing from that era, because it shows you the cars and some of the actual racers and stuff of that era. And interesting if you'd love old Hollywood movies like I do. It's just like a Hollywood melodrama from 1965. This played in theaters. This is the kind of thing people went to see. Although, according to this, not a lot of them went to go see this. But it's the kind of thing that's cool to see and falls through the cracks when all we ever think about or talk about of old movies is the biggest films of all time. I'm always much personally more interested in these little films that did get a release and maybe weren't successful or maybe were small successes. So I'm thrilled that Arrow brings it out. As with any Arrow release, it looks and sounds fantastic. And I thought it was a very interesting film. Maybe double it up with the Frankie and Annette drama thriller Fireball 500.